Alright, Goodwill just opened their doors. I'm gonna do a midweek video. My dog, she's very stressed because there's another dog in another vehicle right now. Sit down, baby dog. Sit down. Sit down. Anywho, I'm doing a midweek video because last night while I was listing, late last night, I worked through the night, I decided I'm gonna play a little game with algorithms again. Last year I experimented a lot with algorithms and I learned some things. There are videos for those. I don't recommend them because it's just like an hour and a half of me rambling about algorithms, but there is a lot of information, so if you do want to like kind of look at that, that's fine. It's not something I'm gonna promote. But the thing is that there are a lot of resellers who are getting irritated right now. I get that, but there are some core resellers who have solid experience, who have tried to give the benefit of the doubt to the system and to the platform, and they're starting to notice the same things I've been noticing. So now I kind of want to know. So a real quick summary of what I've done is I have been consistently listing. Are you okay? She got hyped up and choked on her cheddar bites from Starbucks. So I've been listing consistently. I would say an average of 20 to 25 items a night, because some nights I've done like up to 50, other nights I've done like 10. It's probably a little higher average. I've also been having an average of 20 auctions ending every day for almost a month now. I think about 3 weeks. I'm top rated seller. I have 100% feedback, positive feedback score. I did have best offer on everything until they started the new thing where you can like, multiple buyers can send you multiple offers and whoever pays first gets it, because all of a sudden nobody was paying for their best offers and they were just lingering out there in the void, and I had no idea if they had ended. I had no idea if I could discount items because I didn't know if it was going to be like a double discount. Anyway, so I took off best offer, but I do have free return shipping. I fill out as much information as I can, all the specs. I write a pretty solid description for most items, unless it's just like a little toy or a lot of toys or something like that. I know sell-through rates. I know inventory. I have a vast array of inventory. I've marked all of the boxes. But it is continuing to cap my sales. Like if I average out all the days for the last month, I would average probably like right at a gross of like $160 a day. And every time I have like a really big day, the next day I sell like one thing. And it's like you can see it in the graph. It's like every time I spike up, there's like a day or two where it's like I almost sell nothing. So it just keeps averaging out no matter how much I work, no matter how many things I do that they tell me are going to fix the algorithms. It is not allowing me to make any more money than I'm making right now, which is not, it's like enough for me to squeeze by at like upper lower class. Like it's not, you know, because you have to take into account your actual net when you're trying to pay your bills. You can't go by the eBay net, you know. You definitely can't go by the eBay gross, which is what most people, they're like, oh, in 90 days I sold like, you know, $15,000. Yeah, that's your 90-day gross. you definitely did not sell that much or make that much money. My arm's getting tired. I've been working out, so my arm is fatigued. But the point is that what I did last night is I promoted all of my items at 10%, which is high. that's uncomfortably high to promote your items to that, because essentially by the time all the fees are done, I'm gonna lose like 25% of my what I sell it for. Now, if promoted listings works as well as they say it does, then I should significantly increase my sales. But I want to know to what degree. So last night I wrote down the last 30 days. I wrote down like how many items I sold, my gross, my net, how much I paid in eBay fees, and then like my click-through rate and my sell-through rate and all those different things. I wrote all that down, just like I know I can reference that within eBay a month from now, but I just wanted to have it in writing just in case the numbers aren't matching up, or in case I can't do it for a couple extra days and the numbers get kind of skewed. So I have that information, and I'm going to promote my items at 10%, which means I'm going to be paying eBay a solid extra chunk. Like last 31 days, I think I grossed like $5,200. So if I did that again this month, which it should be way more than that, that means I would pay them an extra $520 just to sell my items, which is like pretty absurd. And that's on top of the store subscription and on top of the other fees. I think I paid like over $700 in fees last month. So they could, at the bare minimum, probably make like $1,300 off of me this month. And I feel like my sales should significantly go up if that's the case. I also want to know how much harder I'm having to work for how much more money. So I want to know how many more items I sell, which that's that many more items I have to ship and replace in my store, and see how much more I actually profit after they take the extra 10%. But yeah, we're gonna see how this plays out, because I want to stay with eBay. I've tried to be very loyal to them, and I haven't really tried to talk bad about it or anything, because it is a platform, and otherwise you're gonna have a storefront, you're gonna have a smaller market. So there's benefits, but if you have to pay like $2,000 a month to like resell on eBay just to live in lower class, like it makes me question how I want to move forward. It makes me think about other options, because in small towns you can rent a retail space for smaller than that, and you could theoretically sell on a platform and have a retail space so that you'd have a space to store all your inventory and sell merchandise and do consignments. And because it's a smaller town, it would draw in most of the small town. It's not like you have a huge market, but they don't have much else to do in a small town. So it's just I'm just wanting to weigh my options. I have other options of other platforms. I have other sellers that would allow me to sell with them on District. So I have a Whatnot account. So I have options. I've also done flea markets in the past. I could diversify amongst like 3 or 4 different antique stores and sell on a platform. There's just options. Point is, that was lengthy, but I wanted to let y'all know that I am going to do this experiment, and I'm going to kind of keep you posted through the month, and at the end of the month we're going to crunch the numbers and see what's really going on here. Because if I'm doing all the things that should translate into sales and solid algorithms in my favor, and I'm paying them a significant chunk more per month to sell on the platform, but I'm not making much more. Like, that's gonna be a problem. So yeah, I guess we'll find out. I'm gonna go in and look around real quick. I'm sorry if my dog's hacking was very loud. She's very calm now. She's happy now. But I probably won't be in here too long. I gave the other resellers a head start. And we'll see if we can find something. Good morning. I do have two things. Of horses out. I'm sure they've already been rated. But I have learned that a lot of people don't know a lot of brands. So a lot of times, even after they've been looked at, I still find. There's Travel On. I don't think those are doing as well as they were. Athleta. Yeah, I don't really want to mess with that. Patriots. That's leather. I don't see a brand. Aldo. I'm not really seeing much. La Luna Loca. Festival bag. Another Travel On. Might look up the Travel Ons just because they're here. This is a nice suede. Garnet Hill. It's got some spots on it though. Alright. There's the one reseller, and she goes through the shoes every day, and she'll like literally shove people out of the way, tossing shoes all over the place. Like, man, you really like your shoes. I'm not a big fan of the shoes. I sell them. You know, I'd be stupid not to, but picky. I did get duped yesterday because I bought 3 bags of toys. There's action figures. I mean, I'm gonna make money off of it, but the reason I bought it was because there was a bunch of what looked to be How to Train Your Dragon figures, and they ended up being Amazon knockoffs, which I don't even know how they get away with that, because they look exactly like How to Train Your Dragon. They're just cheaper made, and they're completely unmarked. So I guess maybe if they're shipped out of China or something, maybe they don't have copyright something. I don't know. I just don't know how they get away with making something almost exactly the same when it comes to something created by DreamWorks. This is probably not worth it. I don't even want to mess with that. What's this little bundle? I like bundles. Oh, these are rags. They are mostly vintage, but they look like sort of cheap Walmart rags from or washcloth from the 90s. I think that's Build-A-Bear. 1, game 2. I'm gonna grab this other bag. Well. There's Bob Ross. I used to find tons of jelly cats here, but I haven't been lately. I'm gonna look this guy up. I'm gonna get the anime plush. I didn't look too far into it, but it looks like I could probably get at least 30, if not 50. Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. It's not what is in there. It's just porcelain dolls. Yeah, the only people I know who are doing like super well right now. I don't think these are Bath and Body Works. Some of these do well if they're like discontinued. I don't know which ones are. Sorry. I want to get the new ones. Ooh. Alright, I'm gonna look up the Bath and Body Works real quick. Alright, I had to get a card. So one of the Bath and Body Works does do well. It was this one, and it is all the way full. Pretty sure. Black Cherry Merlot. But it goes for like 30. So even if it's been tested, because it kind of looks like maybe somebody tested it a couple times, I can't really tell. Sometimes it just evaporates a little bit over time. I can just note that in the description and sell it for like $20, $25. But yeah, what I was saying is that like the only people I know who are doing super well have a very, very strong following. Or they had a very large operation or significant operation prior to all the AI and algorithm changes and all of that. And I'm not saying like, $500 or $600 is pretty well if you are a 2-income family or have a second job or don't need a whole lot of money. But for someone who actually has to pay a whole bunch of bills by themselves without any other source of income, that's just not going to cut it. So there should be some way to work hard enough for it to pay off, but it feels like that's just like not possible anymore unless you develop a really strong following. And I don't just mean like YouTube. I think a lot of YouTube resellers don't understand how important their subscribers are, because not everybody's going to tell you that they're a viewer when they order something. I don't tell when I support resellers on YouTube. I don't tell them when I order something, so unless they just happen to notice it's my name, they don't know. I'm gonna look this one up. And I know a lot of people like that who are supportive, or maybe they just see something they like. But also just having a YouTube following attaches to your other social medias, which promotes your store and is marketing, and then it sends people to your store and they will subscribe to your store, and then whenever you start listing things, it will start notifying those hundreds and thousands of store followers, so then they will see things. I don't think this is actually very old, but that's interesting. Not recommended. Wow. So they'll get notified, you know, and I do get, like, I get a little irritated when people downplay it. Because there are a lot of resellers who just want to believe that they just do things so much better than other people. It's really not that hard to be a reseller. I mean, yes, it takes a lot of knowledge and growth, but especially now, it's not incredibly hard because it does most of the work for you. But yeah, it irritates me a little bit when they downplay it, because one, I think it's kind of rude to the people who support you, but two, it just isn't the complete truth of the matter. And Tennessee and France, two random combinations. It's like a little elf box. It's kind of cool. I don't want to mess with it. I feel like some of the Cat Studio stuff does alright, but I don't know what does alright. I'm going to look up this pattern real quick. Alright, that pattern's not really worth it. I probably should have looked up the frosted glasses too. I want to see what this mug is. It's like an ostrich. Just what the F? But yeah, those are the only people I really know who are doing very well. You know, like where they are comfortable. They just have to do their job the right way. And yeah, it's a lot of work. We're all working hard. I can guarantee they're not working harder than I am. Like right at this point, because I'm in such a small space, and like the level of distractions I have, and there's only one Goodwill in town. I'm pulling like a consistent 60 to 70 hours a week, and then netting an average of like probably about $600 to $700 net. So I know that I'm doing what I should be doing. Let's eat. Right done. Boring. Excuse me, sorry. So, yeah, we're gonna find out. Because I mean, there's, aside from this 10% promotion I've added to my listings, there's literally nothing else I can do outside of just buying wholesale Nikes and selling them that will increase my sales, my algorithms. And I know some of it may have a little bit to do with the economy, but this is a pattern I've been noticing for like a year now. And I've been working consistently hard for really 2 years. I did actually complain about it at one point. And during that time when I complained about it, the first time, I just kept pressing them like something's off. I don't understand what's happening here. And they did do what they called an inventory reset, that they had to get, or they had to put in a request for, and then it would go through 24 hours later, and after the 24-hour period I had to refresh my inventory, and my sales went up like 80% for, it was about 3 to 4 weeks, and then they started to fall off again. And so it was kind of a little weird to me, and for a few different reasons. But I called back and I was like, look, I don't know why it's doing this again or what I need to do to keep it consistently high. And they just kept pressuring me to promote my listings for more. And I was like, well, I can't do that. I'm just working harder for like just a little bit more extra money, like the amount of hours that I have to put in just to make an extra $100 or $200 a week. Like, it's just doesn't make financial or business sense. So I asked them, I was like, can you do another inventory reset at least, and then I can try to figure out between now and then. I've been wanting one of these. I wonder if this still works. That looks very complicated. Huh. And it looks really cheap too. I don't feel confident with that. And at that point, she said that they no longer had that power, like the ability to do that from their end. And I was like, well, you didn't last time either. You had to put in a request. Can you put in another request? And she said that they didn't have that ability anymore. And I was like, well, can I talk to someone who does have that ability? And the chat ended. So that kind of got me kind of a little suspect. And then I just let it go. I was just determined. I was like, I'm just going to work so hard and list so much and pay very close attention to everything I'm doing. Try to build my inventory. Try to find the best stuff that I can. You know, try to play into my buyers. And I was just like really determined. But now I'm moving in 3 months, and I need to know if it's worth me even trying to sustain anymore. Because I can't risk not being able to be sustainable at a reasonable level of work, because I'll also be going to college full time. And when it comes to and I actually told this to eBay at the time, when it comes to, you know, $600 in a week, now, I mean, I can go work at a gas station for $20 an hour and make more than that in a week. So, you know, obviously I don't want to do that. It's not something I enjoy doing. It doesn't really give me the same flexibility, so there's pros and cons. But when you gotta eat and pay your bills, you don't always get to weigh pros and cons. So sadly, if I can't figure out a way to move my sales up faster, because eventually I would like to have, I mean, I don't expect tens of thousands of viewers and tens of thousands of followers to my store. Like, you know, obviously that would be awesome, and that's something I can continue to work towards, but that's not something that's going to happen overnight, and that's not something I'm like going to push really hard to get, because once you get that, you have to stay very sustainable. You can't make people angry. You have to make sure you're posting content on a regular basis, and that's a lot of things you have to do just to hope that it builds a following and hope that it builds your store up. And you're not getting paid at all until you do monetize. So you're doing all of that essentially for free until you figure out if it's going to work or not. So that is a goal, but I'm keeping that goal in perspective as to what is actually achievable in the time frame I need it to be in, basically. So before that, I have to find a way to make sure my sales stay sustainable enough for me to pay all my basic needs without having to work 70 hours a week. So I guess we're gonna find out if that is possible or not. You know, you think, and I'm not going to tell people how to do their jobs, and I know that there is a level of necessary greed when it comes to corporations. I'm not naive, but you would think they would want to retain as many of their committed, experienced, full-time resellers, because we provide consistency. And one thing I know from my experience in business is that one of the surefire ways of building a business and keeping it sustained is having consistency. That's why every business, when you're training, whether it's like a restaurant or, you know, whatever it is going to have training handbooks, so you know exactly how many napkins to give and exactly how many hot sauces to give, exactly what portions to give, because it's not just about saving money and food cost and paper goods cost and your overall cost of goods, but if one time you go in and you get 10 packets of hot sauce and you get an extra 2 ounces of meat, and the next time you get what you're supposed to get in the training manual, your customer is going to feel gypped, and they're not going to understand which employee is doing it the right way and which employee is doing it the wrong way. And, you know, if you sweeten your tea differently every time, they're never going to know if your tea is too sweet, if your tea is not sweet enough. So you would think eBay would want to retain anybody who can provide them that level of consistency, because they're the ones who provide buyer confidence, because they know that there are at least some sellers on eBay who are experienced enough to know how to manage issues, list things appropriately, recognize what is real and what is a knockoff. And I know AI is going to rectify a lot of that, but there will never be a full replacement for experience. And if they become too dependent too quickly on AI and this idea that anybody can be a reseller, they're gonna fall off the market like Depop did. So anyways, I think I'm done. I'm gonna look up these glasses and this book and this silverware, make sure that I want it. And then I'm gonna go get my dog, and we've been doing like a 1 mile, half jog, half walk every day. I'm surprised I have not croaked, because I was very out of shape between like stress and the health issues the last 2 years. But surprisingly, I'm bouncing back quite quickly, which is very encouraging and exciting. So yeah, I'm gonna look these things up, put them back if I don't want them, and then I'm gonna go have my doggy time. I'll see y'all later. Bye.